Hi guys, welcome back. England win the Autumn Nations Cup. Just a game very low on quality but high intention, and England get there in the end. We'll get straight into the game and pick up all the themes that went on in that game, because there were a lot, because it was a long game. First of all, in the first 5 minutes, France were clearly targeting the breakdown. They were making it hard for England, counter-rucking and stealing the ball. They did that the whole game. Take a bow again, them and Shaun Edwards, because the defensive effort was brilliant. And for a side that was a scratch team, that's what they'd have to build their game on, and it was. But England get the first penalty, 3-0. Scrum penalty, France put themselves under pressure. Then England pull a terrible kick, or Farrell pulls a terrible kick wide, should have got it. And all game he had a really poor kicking game. Goodness knows how he retained the kicking, considering you have Ford on the pitch who's an excellent kicker. Well, I know why. It's because he's the captain. Any other player, it would have been taken off him and should have been taken off him. But anyway, then we get the French try. Dulin scores, 3-7. Brilliant attacking shape. Two good decoy runners from France goes in behind. Jalabert spots the dog leg and then bursts through the gap, feeds Dulin. Brilliant score. Really good stuff, especially considering France haven't had much time together as a team. And England refusing to run any balls back from kicks. They did this the whole game. It was incredibly frustrating. I mean, obviously you got to kick it a fair bit of the time, but it was definitely on to counter-attack at times, and they just did not. But Daly knocks a nice long range over, so it's 6-7. And then it really annoys me on 23 minutes, a bouncing ball on the ground. Farrell just looks at it, Slade just looks at it, but France fall on the ball. And that kind of sums up this first half. France wanted it so much more. England's balance is shocking in the back line. Well, I'll come back to that. Something I've been going on about for ages in selection, but it definitely turned up here. On 25 minutes, France turned the ball over from an English line-out, and they were really good spoiling England's line-out in this game. Genge just appeared to be really more preoccupied with shouting and picking a fight with his opposing prop than playing in that first half. Underhill gives away a silly penalty as well, kicking the ball out the nine's hand, goes to 6-10. Then on 29 minutes, I've written down it's the first time England actually run the ball properly, ball in hand, but they lose the ball soon after and actually lose 50 metres from that spilling of the pass. So it's just a terrible start for England, really. France are completely up for it, hassling all the time. Then we get two more poor penalties from England. Gives France another easy 3 points, 6-13. France are on top. They deserve to be on top. Then towards the end of the half, France make a big error. Passing the ball back into the 22. Jalabert kicking it straight out. Not good. So yeah, England get a line out, but my goodness me, the French defence from that line out and the consequent drives was amazing. England should have walked the ball in, either close or wide, but France hold out, just amazing. And the half ends, and it sums everything up. France wanting it so much more, England just trying to go through the motions and making mistakes, and it's just looking pretty pathetic, really. It's the worst half England have played in the Championship by miles. So, mountain to climb in the second half, and I'm thinking surely England are going to come roaring back, and it's definitely not a roaring back, but it's better, I guess. Anyway, second half, finally some good phase play from England and ball movement. They're 10 metres out. I'm thinking this is great, it's building nicely, but they just kick it in a good attacking position. It's just really a snore fest from England. They've got to trust themselves running with the ball a fair bit more, to be honest. Anyway, Launchbury and Underhill get pulled off the pitch early, which rarely happens, which is really saying how it's going. I'm also making a note at this point, I don't think Farrell ever makes a low tackle. He's got to learn to tackle low sometimes, and that was winding me up. This whole game at this point was very irritating as an English fan, of course, but France, you've got to say, amazing. Their counter-ruck was brutal again. England get a penalty this time. They're starting to actually attack a little bit more. May's the only guy who's really hitting lines in the backs, and I mean, the English back line, I said it on selection, it's so badly balanced. I made a note on 60 and 63 minutes actually. Ford, Farrell and Slade just want to pass the ball and there's no one to hit lines, and it wasn't until Max Malins came on that someone actually attacked the line properly, and he's not even a big guy. Lawrence at 100% should have been playing in that midfield. I thought it was a bad selection and I think it proved to be. Also another note, Billy V is making some huge tackles, but at least 2 of those tackles are 100% shoulder charges. He just has his arms out to make it look like it's not a shoulder charge, but it is. He shoulder charges them, and then as they're falling down, he kind of half wraps his arms around to make it look like a tackle. So that's interesting. I wonder if refs will look at that in the future. Anyway, England get a penalty because they are attacking with the ball a bit more, and another just appalling miss from Farrell. Earl then wins a good jackal penalty. They're 10 metres out, but they lose another line out and then ultimately lose another 80 metres. Then England get another penalty, and this one is the worst miss in history. Easy kick for Farrell. Goodness me, it is terrible from Farrell. How Ford is not kicking at this point, I do know, don't I? Because Farrell's the captain and no one's got the guts to take it off him. Anyway, it was a good turnover from Matoje, that was. On 65, the one thing England have got going for themselves in this second half is they're winning the territory battle. France are starting just to run out of ideas in attack, and they haven't had many chances. But a lightning turnover from Villiers, I think, the French winger, straight onto Watson, I believe, gets them a penalty out of the blue. 9-16, the lead is 7 points. And like I said, Malins comes on and starts making a difference, actually running at the French attack, defence even. And then another penalty, 71 minutes, and Farrell misses, I believe. Oh no, he gets it. No, he does get this one. 12-16, he actually gets one. Pretty lucky still to be kicking. Then straight from kickoff, France get a penalty. And surely I think France have won this now. I think this is the one that just grazes the post and goes over. 12-19, it's 5 minutes to go. It looks like France have got this one. But finally, those last 4 minutes, England realise they actually have to play and start attacking with intensity and speed. Get a penalty, go to a 5 metre line out, then a really good maul and a nice spin from Cowan Dickey gets them over the line. 19-all, they get the kick, and it's extra time because this competition has extra time, which we obviously don't normally get in the Six Nations. Anyway, England start perfectly. They kick long, they force the penalty, it's an easy kick, and of course Farrell is still kicking because he's the captain. Just awful. They've got to, for a team so experienced, who's going up to him and saying, no, you need to take a break, Ford's a great kicker, just let him kick it. So they should have won it right then, but they didn't, and they made the game go on. Then Billy drops the kick off straight away. France are in a good scrum position, but then England have good patient defence and actually win a penalty, and then they give away a penalty and blah, 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 blah. It's half-time, 19-all, the game is still going on. And on 11 minutes, England finally get a big scrum penalty that relieves pressure. Then May regathers a really nice high ball kick, and Cowan Dickey breaks straight through. We think it's going to be over then, but France turn the ball over. And France are out on their feet. They really haven't a clue at this point. They're just knackered. They've lost all their shape. Ford kicks it into space, and Itoje and Curry make a mess and force France to give away the penalty. They still let Farrell kick it, but this is another easy one, and fourth time lucky. He knocked it over. England win. Thank God for that. The game is over. Anyway, so many lessons to learn for England on selection, on being complacent, on the balance of their backline, on actually having the leadership to say to someone like Farrell, no, we need to make a decision. So, loads to comment on. Anyway, that's international rugby done for 2020. I'll be back with a few more videos rounding up how all the sides have done and a few other things that I've found interesting. Let me know what you think of that game, the whole competition, because there's plenty to talk about. But at the end of the day, England win the Six Nations 2020 and this Autumn Nations Cup in a very strange fashion at the end. And I will see you guys later.